Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brothers Take podcast. My name is Kris. I'm joined by my brother Eric,
Hello.
and we are back in the room this week to take a break from gaming, but to instead talk about a movie, and that movie is 28 Years Later, the third movie in the 28 franchise. Is that what you would call it, maybe? I don't know.
Sure.
But the first in a brand new trilogy that has been written and created by Alex Garland and Danny Boyle, both returning to the series. Um, we literally just saw the movie last night at time of recording, so we decided let's talk about it. Let's talk about this movie as our episode for this week's podcast. But we're also going to allow for two different possible audiences that might be checking this out. So, if you haven't seen the movie yet, don't worry. We're going to talk non-spoiler first. That will be time-stamped. And then if you're somebody who has already seen the movie, you might want to skip that part and jump straight to let's jump into the spoilers. What you think of those scenes, huh? What you think of the whole movie, the story, the characters, the wild ending? We'll say no more than that. What do you think of it? Maybe you want to jump straight into the spoilers then. And at the end of the conversation, we're going to talk about our favorite zombie movies, maybe our favorite zombie games as well. We're going to throw that in too. Given that we are primarily a gaming podcast, we do like to try and tie in games as much as possible every time we do an episode. But more importantly, we want to hear from you guys too. So if you're watching YouTube, make sure you jump down into the comments to share your thoughts on 28 Years Later. And then, of course, favorite zombie movies, favorite zombie games, things that we're going to bring up towards the end of the conversation. If you enjoyed us, please do give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell for future content. And to those who listen to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on 28 Years Later. But without further ado, this conversation will officially start 28 seconds later.
7, 6, 11, 5, 9 and 20 miles a day, 4, 11, 17, 32 the day before. Moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Don't look at what's in front of you. Men go mad with watching them. There's no discharge in the war.
Okay, so now that we are 28 seconds later, Eric, this as a movie, I suppose, like we've never ever spoken about the previous movies on this podcast.
No.
I don't think we've ever even shared our anticipation levels for this movie on this podcast. So, given what we've been talking about recently, it might feel out of nowhere and a bit left field for our podcast, maybe. But people who have listened to us before probably know that we're big movie fans. We've covered a lot of movies in the past. And this, for me, was my most anticipated movie this year based on the trailer. Not based on any kind of... I like the previous movies, but I'm not a hardcore fan. They are not amongst my favorite movies ever or anything like that. I just thought the trailer was fucking excellent and had me stoked for this movie.
I actually only a couple of weeks ago saw the first movie. The very first one,
right.
28 days later. I only saw a movie recap of 28 weeks later.
Right.
But this trailer was a fantastic trailer. This is like that Mortal Kombat 11 trailer, like where you just like instantly, I think the one for us, like, just made us instantly go, I'm fucking pre-ordering that, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, that trailer to this movie was so good. Using that Boots poem, the radio version of it, and the way it was building up and all the tension there. But yes, it was a great trailer. It was like, I want to see that movie.
Yeah,
Sure.
so this is not coming from a place of fanboys then, if you listen to both of us, basically. I've seen 28 Days Later once. I've seen
Same,
28
yeah.
Weeks Later once, But I also think that like this movie is designed in such a way that it's a standalone too. Like it's set in that world, but you don't have to have seen those two. And it's not like if you haven't seen those two, you won't know what's going on. It's fairly like you'll know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't really need to know the origins of the infected or anything like that. You just need to know that this is set in a world where 28 years ago there was a viral outbreak, and now we're 28 years later living in that world. So
Mm.
the rest, the film will tell you. you know.
Yeah.
So, so I suppose we said we are going to talk non-spoilers first. Eric, what did you think of 28 Years Later?
I actually there's some edit choices. I won't really say what they are, but there's some edit choices that they did that I thought were a bit strange, for sure. But but overall, I actually quite liked it because I thought the production quality was very good. I know I think you were mentioning something about the camera work. Sometimes the camera quality was like, it's not really a spoiler because it's just about technicalities, but like sometimes it looks grainy
Hmm.
and other times it doesn't. I don't know if that's just literally a case of the equipment they were using, or also a case that I think because the first movie is quite grainy as well.
It's definitely like it
It's
is
definitely
the
also a bit of a
technology,
choice.
but it's the technology on purpose. Like it's definitely a
Yeah,
choice. They're going for that look.
yeah. So it does add to that kind of gritty effect. Some certain camera angles I thought looked a bit sort of fish-eye or something like that. There were certain things that happened that were like, that's a bit strange. But
Mhm.
overall, I actually quite liked it. I liked the main character's motivation
Mhm.
for going out into this world. I thought it was a very nice motivation, very good, strong motivation. The infected are fucked. They're crazy. They're very angry people. They should chill the fuck out.
Yeah, they
Uh,
need a massage.
yeah, yeah. But I thought even like the quality around them and prosthetic designs and makeup for them was really good. They looked. There's a certain point in it where I actually got very. I don't know why. I've never seen the movie. This is probably so much more worse than the movie. But I got a weird like Lords of the Fly tribalistic sort of like
Mhm.
if you landed on an island and there was a tribe of people there, like that kind of
Yeah, yeah.
the way that they act wasn't so typically zombie as much as also being a bit.
I actually got major original 1960s Planet of the Apes vibes,
Oh, sure, yeah.
but the people want to eat you.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. They have a look of that, don't they? It's like they've become savage.
yeah. Very savage, very tribal, very, without like use of tools right now. Just get someone to worry that are they using tools? They're not. Don't worry. They're still ripping people apart with their hands and teeth. And I thought choice of music as well. I like at certain points when they wanted to build that tension. I really felt it, even though I was like, no, they're going to get out of this situation, but I still felt the tension
Yes.
of it.
Yeah.
So I thought they did that really well as well. So overall, I quite liked it, and I thought the performances were quite strong, especially for Jodie Comer. I thought fantastic performance from her.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I echo a lot of what you said. So and I preface this with like this is my most anticipated movie this year
Mm,
based on the trailer. Having watched it, I feel kind of bear with me for this comparison, right? So the last time I was this excited by a movie because of the trailer and rewatched the trailer a bunch of times was The Matrix Resurrections, right? Now the trailer to Matrix Resurrections is way better than that whole movie.
mm.
And in this case, the trailer is also better than the movie, I think.
Yes,
However,
that's fair.
this movie is leaps and bounds better than The Matrix Resurrections. It is a good movie, and it's much closer to its trailer than The Matrix Resurrections was to its trailer,
Mm.
in terms of tone and stuff. But there's just something about there's some weird choices in here, and like I did say to you, I know that the sometimes clean, sometimes gritty camera thing. I know it's a choice. I know it's on purpose. It's not by accident. It is certainly not some sort of amateur like, oh, he didn't realize that that bit wasn't in focus. Like, no, it's all on purpose. But I found then that I spent the movie comparing it to itself almost. Like,
Mm.
oh, that shot didn't look as good as the last shot. And I kind of wish he'd just done one or the other. Like, go all grainy and gritty if you want to make us feel like this is like an old CRT movie. Like, this is like something straight from the 90s because nothing has progressed. Like, that's kind of an artistic choice. Or embrace the look how fucking beautiful this landscape is, and then it's going to be, as you would say, juxtaposed with a very violent and brutal world. So I think there's probably good arguments to be made for why it's done the way it is. I think I would have preferred one or the other. The performances across the board are fantastic. The movie has sort of a 3-act structure. Each act kind of has its own focus and its own story in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately it's all centered around this family. The main character was a surprise to me because the main character did not take the center stage in any of the trailers. So that was actually quite surprising. I had no idea this person was the main character actually. I thought it was very clear someone else was the main character, and then you watch the movie and it's, from the get-go really that it's like, no, this is this person's story. And it is the whole way through. So yeah, I liked the movie. I didn't love it. I don't think it's going to be my favorite movie this year, even though it was my most anticipated. But I really, really enjoyed it. I would watch it again. I have more I like about the movie than I dislike about the movie, and I agree with you. I think the tension and the atmosphere is so strong. You can really feel it. But it's also a very human story. It's got its moments of fear and dread. It's got its sadness and emotion. It's got humor. It's a very human experience, I think. And I think those things are actually balanced quite well in the movie. To me, they didn't seem jarring or at odds with each other. They seemed appropriate every time any of them were used. In life, we use humor to lighten when things are dark, We all do it. And I think that when it's used here, it's not used in that kind of MCU style way of like, let's take this very serious moment and now let's dumb it down for a laugh. It's more like in this moment, the context is funny, but it's not like they're even trying to be funny.
No, they're not trying to be funny. They just do it so well within within the context of the scene, within the context of the characters talking to each other.
Yeah.
The bringing back that word, the juxtaposition of their two lifestyles, I suppose, coming together and whatnot. Yeah, I think they I was quite surprised at the comedy, but yeah, the comedy, it's that thing of sincerity though. There's a sincerity to
yes
the story, the characters, their reaction to things, be it comedic or be it not. It's very sincere, it's very real. It's not as you said, someone dumbing down a scene because they're like, oh no, you might feel something, so we need to make you laugh. So here's a comedy scene. MCU is not the only one to do it, just in case anyone tries to attack us. Other people do too, but
plenty of movies do it. I think of them as the
well, they started it.
They popularized it. They mastered it. They're probably the best at it as well. Like, it's actually cringier when you see other movies try to do what they do. Yeah. And you go, oh, just stop. What do you do? Like, you're not... Fast and Furious, stop. You're not able to do... Go back to fucking... racing cars.
You shit the damn man with Fast and Furious. You're gonna watch that last movie. That's probably the last movie in cinema, right? Just for context for everybody. Yeah. We're tangenting here, sorry. There's context. The last Fast and Furious movie that Kris has seen has the first one released in the late 90s, early 2000s.
And apart from that, all I've ever seen is just small clips online, and I don't recognize those movies.
Yeah, so you don't know what it's transformed into. And
I don't understand the context whatsoever.
And so Kris has made a pact with himself. I'll go to the cinema with him to watch the very last
one. Yeah. When it's definitely the last one, that's the one I'm gonna go see, having not watched any of the others. To be like, what the fuck is going on? That's my aim. But
that's hilarious.
But yeah, so just I suppose to finish the sort of non-spoiler part on 28 weeks later, or 28 years later, sorry. Like, I recommend going to see it if you like. I think if you like Danny Boyle as a director, like if you like his movies, first of all. Secondly, if you like these sort of post-apocalyptic style movies. And if you kind of enjoy horror-leaning movies. Like, obviously, there is moments of great tension and fear and dread and that kind of stuff as well. There is moments where it's very intense. It is gross and violent, and like it's not for children really. But I really enjoyed the movie. The ending is weird, and you have to see it to believe it. Nobody can explain to you why the ending is weird. You just have to. The final scene is so strange. It's so unexpected as well. And you know what? Maybe I think the only shame of that is that if people spend the whole time talking about that, it's going to take away from what I thought was actually a really good movie. Not as good as it could have been, though, I think.
Hmm.
However, good nonetheless, with really strong performances and writing throughout. So yeah, that's. Any final thoughts on 28 Years Later before we jump into the spoilers?
No, I think we both pretty much covered it there. Yeah, the ending is one of those things. Yeah, you just like, nope, you just gotta see it.
You gotta see it to believe it.
Yeah. You won't predict it.
No. Okay, so with that said, then we are now going to jump into the spoiler discussion of 28 Years Later. So if you haven't seen it yet, maybe this is the time to head off, watch it, and come back to us to join in on the discussion. Or if you've already seen it, welcome and join in. So this is your final spoiler warning. Let's go. Eric, this might be a weird way to start. I want to spend more time on the actual movie itself, but I feel like it's going to be a lingering thought if we don't just talk about that last scene and just get it out of the way, right? Because we just finished the non-spoiler part with you have to see it to believe it, folks. I'd like to talk about that little moment first and get it out of the way, basically, and then talk about the actual movie. What did you think of the last scene of the movie?
It starts off okay.
Yes.
It's the kid.
Yeah.
He's going out on his own now. He's
Yeah.
got the fish thingy, right? He's not a fish thingy. It's a fish. He's cooking a fish, right?
Not just like some fish-shaped thing he found. It's in fact a fish.
Yeah, and then
the music is great.
The infected show up. The music's great. He's running. He's doing what his dad taught him at the start of the movie. You know, to run for a bit, turn around, pop him in the heart or head, and then keep going. Blah blah blah. Right. But more were coming, and he keeps running. He gets to a place where the pathway is blocked up with all these boulders, and so the tension's building. It's like, oh fuck, is this kid gonna die? Not really. He could have climbed those rocks. I'm not gonna lie. Anyone could have climbed. That's it. Wasn't really that difficult. But then. You got a guy who says, "Do you want a hand?"
Yeah.
And you look at him, and he looks like a rapper. He looks like he's about to drop some sick beats.
Yeah.
What he looks like.
He's in a tracksuit. He's got his bling on. He's got a cross. He's got golden teeth. His name is Jimmy.
He's got a tiara on his head as well. He's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then he calls on his boyos, his gang, his entourage,
Yeah.
who are also all in tracksuits.
It feels like a very different movie.
With the worst blonde haircuts ever.
Yeah, it looks like Electric Callboy showed
Exactly.
up.
Yeah. They do
hyper.
they do backflips off the rocks.
Yeah, Power Rangers.
Yeah, and then they start like killing all the infected with all their weird
And heavy metal plays.
Was it heavy metal?
Yeah, some heavy metal tune plays while they kill all these.
It still feels weird though. The music, it just
Everything about it feels weird. Everything about it feels weird. I've been thinking about it quite a bit, trying to wrap my head around, and I was like, did it even happen? Like, there's, the way. I think it did happen, right? But I'm just having this moment of like, so throughout the movie, Spike, played by Alfie, fucking amazing. The kid in it is so good. I think he does an incredible job carrying this movie. But at the very start of the movie, the camera shows a Power Ranger, the red Power Ranger, on his, like, on the shelves beside his bed. And it, like, lingers on it for a few moments. Right? And I don't know what the significance of it was. And then it just so happens that at the end of the movie, it's like a big Power Rangers sequence. Where I'm like, there's something there. I don't know what it is, but there's something about that Power Ranger. I don't know. Like, is he only envisioning that there are these amazing backflipping badasses, and they actually just killed them kind of normally, but through the eyes of the kid, he's sort of gonna in the like, maybe I'm thinking about this way too much, right? Do you know the way like when he went back to the town and the dad was telling all these lies about, oh, he's a giant killer and he killed him in the neck and all? It's like, that's not what happened at all.
Yeah.
Like, is the kid now gonna start like like everything's going to turn into mythology, and he met Jimmy, and he's got these amazing warriors, you know, and I don't
Yeah, but
know.
could he
I
not
don't
visit
know.
them not wearing fucking
Oh, I
tracksuits?
think they are wearing the tracksuits. But what I mean is, because they're all in different colors, did it remind him of Power Rangers? And now he's envisioning them doing all this kind of shit. I don't fucking know. I mean, to be honest, the more I think about it, I now get what this scene was. We waited um till the end credits to see if there was going to be like some kind of end credit scene, because we know this is setting up a trilogy, and maybe they were going to do that thing that movies do now where they like set up the next thing. And I realized, oh, actually, they did it before the credits. That's
They,
exactly what this is. This is like I had to say it again, it's like an MCU mid or end credit scene where it's like, wow, that does not belong in this movie at all. But clearly it's setting up something else, and I'm not supposed to know what it means yet.
yeah, it definitely is that. It's definitely setting up the continuation of Spike's story.
Yes.
Um, it just feels very weird.
Yes.
Out of there. It's not even just the case that it doesn't belong in this movie. They just don't belong in that world.
Well,
Because
so
the
we say,
world,
right?
well, yeah, because the world that's been established with 28 Days Later and now with 28 Years Later, as both of them are Danny Boyle movies, so can't really include the second one. Um, Everyone's very serious and gritty.
Mm-hmm.
So these weird, flamboyantly hopping around tracksuit ninjas about to drop their sick beats, like just doesn't look right, especially with the aesthetic of the trees and the rocks and even the world itself. Like they're not camouflaged. They're standing out like a sore thumb. But there's definitely a cult of personality with Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
He looks very weird. He's going to be fucked up. He's going to be a weird guy. It's going to go into some weird place, I think, with those people. You can clearly tell by the design. Maybe that's another reason they made the design so fucking opposite to the rest of the design of everything else in the world
Mm-hmm.
to show you, yeah, it almost makes you uncomfortable looking at them because they're
Yes,
so,
there's something not right.
yes,
I think Jimmy is going to be the villain of the trilogy.
probably.
I don't think, I don't trust him for
Oh
sure.
God, no.
Actually, I think that because I when it came back, I was like watching interviews and stuff, and um, the the young actor, I think his name is Alfie, who plays Spike. He was asked like just before we finish up, and it was like a spoiler question, so I'm glad I watched it after the movie.
Mm.
Said, does Spike trust Jimmy? And he was like, no, definitely not. So there's definitely like already an understanding that maybe Spike is, or sorry, maybe Jimmy is not going to be a good character, and I think it's kind of clear that he's probably not.
No, definitely not. Yeah, it's just a very weird choice. Definitely setting up the rest of it. But yeah, they're just doing what movies used to do when doing sequels. If they're doing a trilogy, it's just they set up the next one at the end of the movie before the credits start. So just keeping the movie in the credits, in between the credits. If the opening credits, closing credits, that's where the movie belongs.
Yeah, yeah.
Very much that.
Well, so the first time we actually see, so yeah, look, it's a weird scene. I didn't like it at all. I think it's a weird one to end the movie on, and I hope it isn't what everyone ends up talking about the most, because I think it distracts away from the really good shit that's in the movie,
Mm.
including the opening, which is actually where we first see Jimmy.
Yeah,
He's
young
clearly
Jimmy.
an important character because you don't start a movie with that, end the movie with that. Like he bookends the movie, so
Mm.
he's obviously going to play some role in the future. Um, but yeah, the opening, uh, great way of like just letting us know this is where it all started. Then we go 28 years later. If you haven't seen any of the other ones, this is your context. You know, it
Mm.
started in the early 2000s,
Yeah,
and
you can tell because they had the old CRT TVs.
yeah, Teletubbies. The movie starts at Teletubbies, and already you're like, this is gonna get fucked up. I thought it was a great opening, personally.
Mm.
How did you feel? And that the graininess really suited the opening, I thought.
The graininess works there. I thought yeah, I mean, like you said, it's the minute you see Because like we saw it last night. We were sitting in the cinema, and I think Teletubbies came on, and I was sitting up. And then the minute Teletubbies came on, I actually slouched down because I was like, "Oh fuck no, what's going to happen here?" Like,
Yeah, because it's
because
like in a movie like this, there's no way you're starting with Teletubbies and it's gonna stay happy. Like, that's just not gonna
no, no,
happen.
no, those kids, there was a bunch of kids in the room. They're gonna get fucked.
Yeah, they're
Guess
gonna
what?
get killed.
They get fucked. They get
Yeah,
absolutely mauled to bits as then Jimmy's running through the house and everywhere he looks is everyone getting fucked.
yeah. Get maybe say getting killed. It sounds like you mean they're actually getting fucked.
Well, with some of the content of this movie later on, who knows?
Who knows what's going on with those horrible rage-filled virus people?
No, but yeah, they're getting killed.
But watching that intro, like it was really, I thought it was really well shot, really well done. Loved seeing it from Jimmy's perspective and him trying to survive. And I thought it was a very fitting way of. So it does two things. It introduces a character, but it also gives us a bit like a good intro to the movie, bring us back into the world of the 28 series, and then you have your. Now we're gonna let you know we're picking it up 28 years later from that event. It's a title drop, and it's now we're in the real story of the movie,
Mhm.
which is God of War. It's 2018's God of War, 100%. It is. The dad brings the kid out. The kid is Atreus, and the dad is teaching him how to hunt. Is the first thing, and teaching him how to be a man, burly man. Then they go back and of course the movie becomes about trying to say goodbye to his mother. Really, you know, that's the bones of the movie. I think
Yeah,
we all
bones.
got those comparisons, did we? Or
Actually, I was just kind of along for the ride, so I didn't pick up on God of War until after it was said.
oh
But
right,
after it
okay,
was said,
okay.
I was like,
We were like, oh yeah, it
yeah,
is.
no, yeah, it's very God of War inspired. But
Yeah,
that's not,
it's not a bad thing.
no, not a bad thing because it's still its own story. Like for me, I was along for the ride, so I didn't see the comparison at the time.
Hmm.
Um, but then when you see it, you're like, oh, that's cool. And it's not exactly a bad move, bad game, bad story to pull inspiration from. It's
Yeah,
God of
yeah.
War.
And I don't mean that in a way of like I'm not convinced. Like I don't think Alex Garland, the writer, said I'm going to turn God of War into 28 years later. I don't think it's that.
No, no,
But
no.
but I just think that you can see maybe some influence pouring in,
Hmm.
and not just from that, from lots of things as well. And I'm sure he has been influenced by many things, and the same way as the 28 series has influenced lots of things, and
Hmm.
culture starts influencing each other. Um, what did you think of Aaron Taylor Johnson in this movie?
Uh, very surprised that
Mm.
he wasn't the main character.
Yeah, because I think we all thought he was.
Yes, for sure. I thought the whole movie was really a case of they go out onto the mainland because there's civilizations on an island. They got this natural bridge, or maybe they made the bridge, but either way, the tide comes in, so then it's impossible for anyone to cross, which I think is a really cool natural defense, using the water to their advantage. And so I actually thought with the way the movie was, it was really going to be them stuck on the mainland for ages trying to survive, and then they're going to meet some crazies and whatnot.
Hmm.
And then that's not what the story was. Aaron Taylor Johnson, definitely a very complicated character, for
Yeah,
sure, and very fucked by this society. I actually thought he was Jimmy at first, before it was established he really wasn't. I kind of thought it was like that's the dad now growing up, like that
yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah,
But
I had
yeah,
that moment as well. I did, yeah.
but I like it's Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's a very good actor. His performances are very good.
Hmm.
Like especially the moment, as you said, when they were all celebrating, he was singing about his kid, and the kid was like, "That never happens." Like, he's modest. Yeah, I just thought his whole performance there was so good, and you can clearly tell that he is very proud of his son.
Yeah,
In a way, he wants to big up his son. You know, he
but
wants
he
his son
also
to be proud of what he does, but he's also very not great
he also
on
wants
other.
his son to grow up quicker, though. Do
Right,
you know what I
taking
mean?
him
Like,
out
because like
beforehand.
even at the gate, they were like, usually they don't go until 14 or 15. I think they do say the spike is only 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, he's ready. Come on, he's ready." And like he's trying to get him to kill at a much younger age than most others, and then getting him to drink alcohol as well, and so
Yeah,
he kind of wants his son to grow up faster than. And then I feel like the opposite then is like his mom wants him to stay a child forever. Has he gone to school and all this? So there's an interesting, and I don't know if it's that he, like where that's coming from. Is it that he wants him to grow up faster because it'd be easier for him to man? I think he's trying to prepare him for, because they do talk about how it's like the unspoken thing. It's like, she's dying, isn't she? And you know it too, and they don't really talk about it. I think he is. The whole movie is about trying to prepare Spike for death,
Hmm.
but everyone's trying to do it in different ways. And actually, strangely enough, it's the doctor who somehow helps him accept
Does it
it
the best, yeah.
in a soft kind of way, but also drugs him. So it's like there's a lot of like confusing ethics there. But yeah, I don't know. I think the dad has a weird, messed up way of like ultimately he's trying to prepare him for survival. I want you to
Yes.
be able to hunt. I want you to be able to kill. I want you to look out for the signs, and I want you to like man up because you need to look after yourself, kind of a thing. Because we're not going to be around forever, and I'm very reminded of that because I know your mother's dying. But he also, he does very questionable things himself.
Yes.
And his method of teaching Spike is a little bit toxic as well. Like even him like bringing him in to see the guy hanging upside down in the bag and telling him to kill him as well and to look at things and stuff like that and don't look away from it, and especially when you take in the context of he is younger than they usually do it.
Yes.
So yeah, he's an interesting and complicated character who I do believe loves his son, though. There's no
Yeah,
question of that.
he definitely loves his son, but yeah, probably does have that element of like, yes, wants him to grow up. He shouldn't be babied. He does physically hit him in the movie, but you can also see an element of regret.
Oh yeah, I think his acting is superb in this. You could
Yes.
see, but
Even
also too stubborn to apologize.
Yes, and then even the point when he tells him to the son tells the dad to Spike tells the dad to leave him and the mom alone. And he's fucking pissed off and he goes in and when he punches the wall, I was like fucking felt it, absolutely believed it. That even that just little moment was so well performed.
Yeah.
Um
And I think what's powerful about that scene, you could see it in his eyes as well. Like he takes the knife off Spike and then he gives it back to him, and then he leaves. Right? It's very quick to, from the other side, look at that as just rage. But I don't think it is. It's fucking heartbreak, is what that is.
Yeah,
He
he's
is
broken.
very upset, and that's why he's hitting something. Like it's not coming from a place of I'm mad now at my son. He's mad at himself.
Yeah, which is why he's making
I think.
himself feel the pain.
Yeah.
By
So
punching.
very well written. Not
He's not a hero.
He's not a hero. He's not an immediately likable person, but is very human and is coming from a place of definitely loves his son.
Loves his son, but it's also a horrid world, so he probably had to grow up fast himself. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. He's got like, they've all got trauma. That's the thing. Like no one in this world hasn't experienced trauma. Then I suppose there's Jodie Comer, as you said, is fucking amazing in the movie. She's brilliant. And I think I even spent the movie wondering what is her ailment.
yes,
And like I think the whole plot of then the son wanting to bring her to the only known doctor that he knows of, and he's naive and he's kind of thinks, well, a doctor could fix anything. Like that's a really good motivation, I think, for a story. He wants to save his mother's life.
Yeah.
He's been brought out hunting by his dad, and he feels he's ready now, and then he wants to bring his mother. And like that's sort of the 3-act structure. Act 1, the father. Act 2, the mother. Act 3, the son.
the doctor. Oh,
In a way. Well, I see it as like now it's
Yeah.
just his story, and he has to survive on his own now. That's the decision he makes without mother or father. But when she does get the diagnosis, and you're kind of like, oh man, that's fucking, because so it's like, so even if they were in, yeah, even if he had all the medical equipment in the world, still might not be able to save her
No.
because there's no cure. So it's like of all the ailments she could have in a world where Spike also just doesn't understand anyway. Like what does that mean? What do you mean you can't save her? You're a doctor, I was like, that's a very, it's heartbreaking and it's powerful. And then there's that moment of you're just gonna have to accept that, and you're gonna have to let her go, basically. And let's do it in a way that looks fucked up,
Yes.
but is actually his weird way of let's remember them.
Yeah, that's
It's
that's
so
actually-
weird.
That's the thing. So very Ray Fiennes' character and the whole Jodie Comer story, especially when you find out her ailment, which is very, very developed cancer.
Yeah.
So like, if she had a got to him sooner, maybe.
I don't think there's anything he could have done.
No,
He would have
not
no
really much.
chemotherapy. He'd have no.
No,
He
and
wouldn't have any of the MRI
it-
scans. Like he has nothing.
Yeah, and also
No.
it was the world ended in 2002, I think, in the 28 series. So it's also
Any
England's technology, which
back then, yeah. Like
Yeah.
what developments have been made since then wouldn't be around even. Like I think there's nothing he could do to save her.
Hmm.
At any
but
phase.
but I think if I suppose if Spike had found out earlier,
Sure.
making the preparations would have been easier. It was finding out and then she's dying. She ended that. But like for the trailers, you see the trees of bones and you see the big bone skull fucking pyramid thing. Ray Fiennes' character, you just think this is a psychopath. Like this is gonna be some murdering prick.
And they start talking about him that way too.
Yeah, and then I'm not the biggest fan of subverting expectation, but this was something where they subverted my expectation. Sorry.
He's got the virus. He's infected. Jesus Christ.
Sorry
It's
about that.
raging.
But they actually subverted the expectation really nicely in this. But yeah, finding out that she has.
Oh God, he's infected again. Jesus Christ.
Sorry again. But to find out that she has very developed cancer and then having to say the goodbye is such a beautiful. Well, because I kind of thought, is she really young and just has like Alzheimer's or something like that?
Yeah, you start to Eric, just Jesus, let it out, Eric. God damn it, I can hear it again. It's the virus. It's back. Yeah, I was wondering that myself because obviously there was moments where she gets really confused and things throughout the movie. It's done really well. She's excellent performer throughout, and complicated. Her son trying to look after her, especially going out into the world, and there's like scenes that are quite tense. Especially they're asleep in the old church, and the fucking thing is like crawling up, and oh God, it's horrible, and they really keep you hanging, until that very last second. You're like, oh my God, this is so tense. They of course meet another character on the way, not just a doctor, Ray Fiennes, who's excellent in it. It's so strange because you're like, you're definitely fucked up, but I feel comforted by you.
Yeah, you're the nicest one out of everyone.
Like he just has a weird way of like say like what he's doing seems so messed up, like, and yet he explains it in such a way where you feel like, oh, that's really nice what you're doing. It's really like, there's something really relaxing about your ritual of remembering the dead, as you have your apparatus for boiling the skin off and then putting the skull in your fucking display,
Yeah.
to anyone on the outside, it would look like this guy's definitely a serial killer or something. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? But they meet a Swedish soldier called Eric. Hey,
He saves them.
and he's great.
He's great. I liked him.
Their scene was unexpected. As soon as the soldiers went into the tunnel, I went, oh god, oh god, oh god, here we go. This is gonna get scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you
There
think of that whole sequence of like the soldiers and stuff? And like, would you have liked to have seen them crash land? Did it feel a bit out of nowhere, or?
Did feel out of nowhere and then just being told they crash landed. And I was a bit like, okay, is that going to pop up again later, like an explanation of how their ship hit something, and then they had to abandon and go to shore and whatnot. But I understand they were setting up the character of Eric by having all these soldiers. Very, very unfortunate for a lot of them, especially when three of them went to the cave, went into the tunnel, and they
Hmm.
came across the Alpha Samson, who
Yes.
just ripped off someone. He predatored.
Yeah.
He absolutely predatored one of them. He ripped off
Yeah.
the skull with the spine and then used it to kill another
Full on
shaft.
fatality.
Yeah. Oh, would you imagine him in Mortal Kombat?
Jesus, I don't want to. Fucking hell. Uh, that's actually a new element, the whole alpha thing.
Yes.
And they make a big deal out of it, and they are very scary and
Mm.
intense. Their roars are louder, they are bigger and stronger and faster, and they seem to be really hard to take down. What do you think of the addition of the alpha? Like, is it something? Is it an idea you like, or are you like, I don't know about that?
I actually kind of like it
Hmm.
because it adds more to that weird tribal Lords of the Fly sort of vibe that I was getting. Like, there's that bit when um, it is in the first act. It's with the dad and the son. They go out into the field
Hmm.
and they see some of the infected,
Yeah,
and he was like, "Stand absolutely still."
yeah, he's so creepy.
And then the alpha just comes walking up like, yeah, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" I just something about it was so creepy. The silhouette of him, the way he walks,
Yeah,
is so human, but
yeah,
weird.
with purpose, and he's very
Uh,
much the video game boss.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Now the first one gets defeated in
yeah.
quite another intense scene, which is the pretty much nearing the end of Act One. But
So good,
yeah,
so good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like the addition of the alphas. I think they explain it in a way that makes sense, where the virus for some people acted almost like steroids.
mm, it
And
just
I think as
bumped them
well,
up.
like over years they've changed. You know, you see some of them, like you see the real slow ones on the ground that are just totally fucked up.
Yeah,
Um, I think it makes sense that it has changed over the years, and that like what have they eaten, and what way have they lived, and how have they washed, and all these things. Like, how has it changed them?
mm.
Um, it wouldn't really make sense to me that they're still in like clean clothing with just the bloody eyes running around. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a
No,
whole
no, no.
28 years.
Yeah. So most of
It
them
has to have
are
changed.
naked out of it. They're naked and dirty and bloody, and they're not
And their
nice.
hair has grown because they don't groom of themselves, obviously. And
No, yeah, so their hair is still growing themselves. They are just in searching of more food. The big crawling slow ones have like fungus growing on them.
yeah, because they're eating worms and stuff out of the ground out of pure desperation for food now, because obviously
Yeah,
livestock is running out. And
and they can't move, so obviously plants and shit can grow on them because they're just moving so slowly. Probably most of the time lying really still for ages.
yeah,
Yeah, then you have those ones, and so having them just fuck up the military soldiers kind of goes to show you, remind you, I suppose, how and why the military in the UK failed.
hmm,
Because again, it's reiterating that point of how quickly someone turns.
yeah, it's
One
like the
bite and it's
fastest. You're fucked. Like, you have no chance. There's no like, oh, if I cut off the arm quick enough, I can stop this infection. It's no, no. Like, once it's in you, you're fucked.
and another thing you notice from the start of the movie,
Hmm.
and again here, is when you're bitten and you start puking, they move on. They don't keep eating you.
Oh yeah, no, they're not even trying to eat you.
No,
I don't think. I think they're literally just they want to kill you, but as soon as they bite you, they're kind of done with you.
yeah, it's you have no interest in them or something like that. So, but it's so fast, and then um. But yeah, I think the introduction of Eric's character is when we get the comedy,
Yes,
which
yeah,
is that lovely juxtaposition of the fact you have this character come from Sweden. It sets up that the rest of the world is fine. They escaped the UK, but then everyone pushed the infected back, and now they're only
and
still
turn the
isolated in
UK
the
into a
UK,
quarantine zone. Yeah,
into a quarantine zone. So we have Sweden. This Eric guy from Sweden. He's the only survivor of the ship that crashed.
hmm,
He's in Act Two, so it's when Spike is bringing Jodie Comer across England to the doctor, and him trying to have a conversation and being so totally and utterly confused. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no, his deliveries are very good. Their conversation is very good. The way they all interact with each other is like highly entertaining, and then it leads to quite an intense scene on the train. Actually,
Mm.
um, Danny Boyle loves his trains, doesn't he?
He loves trains.
He loves trains, man. Now this adds in what I
This,
feel is quite a controversial element of the
I
movie.
think this,
Maybe other people feel differently. I don't know.
I think this bit went a little off the rails.
Yay! All right, stop you. Let's get back on track. So yeah, so the pregnant infected woman is in labor on the train, and Jodie Comer's character helps her
Deliver
deliver
baby.
the baby.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm always like, I just think with these kind of infected, and I know, okay, so there's that thing of like the motherly instincts kicking in and wanting to help a child come into the world, and there's something beautiful about that. But also, if even a drop of their blood gets in you in any way, get. So my thinking is that when it comes to these infected, you just stay the fuck away, regardless of the context. And if anything else, you just shoot them.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, here if you had known that it was going to be a perfectly healthy baby, then you could have the argument of, well, that's a cruel thing to do. Have you just killed a perfectly innocent baby? So, well, my whole thing is, if I could hear an infected on a train, I wouldn't have gone on to check in the first place. I would have just stayed outside of the fucking train and
Yeah.
moved on. So I would never know that there was a pregnant infected because I would have never gone near the sounds of it. However, they do. They deliver a perfectly healthy baby. It's a strange idea to me that the baby doesn't have the infection in it, given that, again, a drop of blood from them will infect you, and obviously the baby gets the nutrients from the mother. But I know that not all genetic like infections or diseases do pass on to children, just because it's all complicated. I don't know if I like the inclusion of the baby, and I don't know if it adds anything to the movie actually, because he gives the baby back and he goes off on his own journey by the end of it anyway. So obviously the baby is going to play a role in the future. It's the baby's name is Isla, so she's named after the mother. She's been left with Jamie, the father. Maybe he is going to, maybe there's a relationship going to form there. But I feel like that whole storyline in this one was just set up for something else, but it had no
Yes.
payoff yet.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what their train of thought is for this one. Yeah. We're getting off the rails with these ones, aren't we?
Well, we gotta stop. Come on.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, that's the rest of my train punts. I don't know anything else.
I got nothing.
Yeah, so definitely just setting up for the next one. That's it. I do wonder, is the kid going to like be immune? Is the kid going to be
Oh, sure. They're going to do
like
the whole Ellie cure thing with the baby.
they don't have anything for well, maybe.
See, we
Because
don't
maybe
know
they could,
because
they could
they.
flag down one of those passing ships to.
Well, not only that, like, so Spike, as far as Spike knows, the whole world or the whole of the UK is like his little island.
Hmm.
But Jimmy, at the end of the movie, if nothing else, proves that not all of the UK is like their little island.
Hmm.
So for all we know, there's hospitals out there, there's labs out there, there's underground bunkers out there is technology out there. They just haven't seen any of it because they've been living this very secluded, quiet life. Just because Spike's never seen a phone doesn't mean there isn't one out there. Doesn't mean there's no technology out there. Doesn't mean there's no means of... Maybe there is someone trying to make cures out there. I don't know. But I think Jimmy at the end proves that it's not all we're trapped in the 90s or whatever. Or even older.
Yes, that's for sure. The bit with the phone actually is quite funny.
Yes, it is.
When Eric gives Spike the phone.
Very funny.
Yeah, well, I just think maybe it's either that the child is going to be immune or the child is actually going to grow you'd have to do years later again, but that the kid will grow into like a Samson, but you can have a conversation with it.
All right, like an alpha. Yeah, maybe. I
Like
don't
it's
know.
or it's just a
Do you like
case
the
of
inclusion of the baby?
I think it kind of messes it a bit. It's a baby. It's going to cry, which drags noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jodie Comer's character is a little. I'm not understanding the motivation there.
Mm,
To be honest, is it like she's just in a state of delusion because of her illness?
right.
Is she herself?
I just feel it's an unnecessary uh segment in what is already kind of an already enticing story. I think
Mm.
the whole Spike just trying to look after his mother gets her to the place, learns the truth, and then has to say goodbye to his mother is a powerful story, and the baby doesn't add anything to it, I don't think.
No.
Obviously there's plans. There has to be plans for the baby in the future. Or maybe the baby was the way of it's going to be the way that Jamie is going to handle his grief. Finding out that the baby's name is Isla is maybe his way of learning that his wife has passed on, and now this is in memory of,
Mm.
you know?
Probably not
I don't
doing
know.
him to do better as a father.
Maybe Isla is the purpose of Isla is for Jamie to redeem himself.
Very possible.
Maybe. But because we don't get that here, it's an element I would have left out personally.
It feels very it kind of feels a little bit like a TV show. The way TV shows do things and it's the setup
Yeah.
really like what's gonna come, what's to come.
Yes.
So it's very much like that. That and like Jimmy is like a cliffhanger ending for
Yeah. We don't have the payoff yet, so they both feel strange in this movie. Whereas this movie's own story does have its own payoff, which is
mm,
obviously the trying to save the mother, finding out what's wrong with her, letting the mother go.
mm.
And that in itself is a beautiful, very human story, heartbreaking, emotional, powerful in many ways. Um, and then you have all the tension of the world that they're in those great scenes. While I was kind of like rolling my eyes at the baby birth scene, I was going, God, why are we going here? This doesn't really make sense to me. I will say the scene with Samson on the train was intense, and like
Yes.
Spike trying to hold him off while he's chasing him with fucking Eric's head and spine in his hand, and just breaking through the doors and just trying to get off the train, and the music is amping. I was like, this is fucking great. Like this is a really great scene. So there's still like, it's not that the baby element ruins everything. It's just an element that I don't understand why it's
Mm.
in here. But there's lots of stuff that happens around it that's fucking awesome. Oh, I think.
Yeah, that is when we get introduced to Red Fiennes' character.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
Samson kills Eric, chases after him. He is a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Jesus, he's a big boy. He
Yeah,
is terrifying.
I wouldn't mess with him.
And then yeah, so Ralph Fiennes shoots him with morphine, is it? Or he shoots him with
Shoots
no,
him with
not
something that
morphine.
seems to calm him, which is like be a good thing
Now,
for Spike to get and weaponize himself for the future.
yes. Now I don't understand
Yeah, why he
why
doesn't kill him.
why he just wouldn't kill him.
Yeah, so there seems to be a weird thing where, um, Kelson, isn't it, Dr. Kelson?
Yes.
He doesn't like even the way he talks about Samson. It's like, oh, this big fool. Oh, um, he doesn't really see the infected as bad. He just sees them all as. I wonder if it's just the doctor in him that is like, oh well, he has an ailment, he can't help it. So I'm trying to, I'm calming him down because that's what he needs. That's sort of the medication he needs right now.
Mm.
But ultimately, he shouldn't die for it. It's not his fault he's sick. Is that
Maybe.
his outlook on it versus other people would obviously have the outlook of you kill it to stop it from spreading, it's an infection, it's bad.
Yeah. Is it that or is it also because he knows the blood is so infective that he doesn't want to get close enough to kill it just in case the blood gets into his eyes or anything like that.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, it's just the way he spoke about Samson, like he was the one that named him, and
Yeah, he spoke
he
like
spoke about him in like a like doctor almost doctor patient kind of way. Like, it's like, oh, this is Samson, and oh, he gets a bit angry sometimes, and I feel like he's actually he thinks you should look out for everyone.
Quite possible.
you know. Um, and yeah, maybe that's an interesting element. I feel like we haven't seen the last of him. I think he's going to pop up again.
No, and the iodine thing was a very interesting. So when we meet him, he's covered in orange, and then he says, "Sorry for my appearance. I'm covered in iodine, which the infected don't like," or something like that. He says something like that,
Something to that effect, yeah.
which is interesting because yeah, is Spike going to start like? Is he going to
Learning
spread
from
that?
him how to survive, yeah.
Yeah, and then spread that information so that people will then learn that, and then they could start rebuilding because now they know, okay, we coat ourselves with iodine. They don't like it. If we use whatever the tranquilizer that he was using, it will calm them down. Which could be interesting. That like Spike is going to learn from various people. He learns from the community about using the bow and how to
Hmm.
spot things. He learns from Kelson about the chemical like that he could use, and then maybe from Jimmy he learns how to do somersaults and backflips and
By the
whatever the
end of
fuck
it, it
else.
just turns into Resident
Uh,
Evil Afterlife, and
yeah,
Spike just has all these weapons and does backflips and everything, and
yeah.
fucking up the. Is there anything that you particularly want from the follow-up movies? Are you excited for the follow-up movies? Like, how are you feeling now after it, um, about the the future of this particular series?
Weirdly enough, I actually well, we're probably going to get it with Jimmy and them, but I just don't really like their design, so it's not satisfactory enough.
Hmm.
But you know the mask that the
That you see throughout the movie at times, yeah,
yes, that Spike's community used. So that was in the trailer. So I thought that there was going to be a fucked up cult
yeah,
or some weird like Mad Max style gang or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
I think that would be cool.
You want to see more of what the humans are doing.
Yeah, I suppose so. The infected, we get the infected, we know the infected. That's fair enough. Samson's probably going to show up. He's probably going to want to attack that. He probably wants to get the baby back because I think we have established. I think the movie does establish that is his
It
baby,
seems to be that he's the father of that child, yeah.
which goes to show that they actually do still think.
Well, the alphas definitely do, isn't that what they were
Mhm.
saying? Like that they're more intelligent than
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but then yeah, just see what are the people do? Do we
Hmm.
have normal people? Do we have fucked up people? How are other people surviving? You know what I mean? Yeah, like you said, are there people with technology? You know, will we get like the Tommy and Maria type people of Jacksonville, like from like The Last of Us? Do we get that where someone's trying to fix a dam to have electricity, and then do we get like the David and all those people who've turned into cannibals from
Yeah.
again The Last of Us? But
Yeah, I am interested to see how other communities have survived in this world and what they've become from this world. I think that is something that they should go into and explore. I'm interested to see how Killian Murphy's character and Naomi Harris's character,
mm.
what has happened to them 20 in the 28 years that have passed.
Yeah, because
Where are they at? What's going on there?
I thought they left, to be honest.
Um, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Who knows? Like maybe
Mm.
the way they show up is they're actually on the ships and they are passionate about maintaining the quarantine. Like who knows? But we do know that they're going to show up at some point.
Mm.
Um, but I'm also like I really enjoyed this movie. I can wait though. I haven't left
Right,
it
yeah, yeah.
feeling like, oh, I can't wait for the next one. I'm kind of like, when they come out, I'll watch them. And if they don't come out for like 10 years, I won't be like, when is that second one coming out? Now, I know it is to be, the second one is coming out next year, apparently.
I would definitely be like, where the fuck is the second one if it takes 10 years? I
No, I
don't want
know.
another like James Cameron Avatar situation.
No, but I'm also, I,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I
I'm
know what
not
you mean.
waiting for it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. It's
Like,
not quite
so,
like the end of Across the Spider-Verse.
no, where I'm like, I'm itching for that next one and I can't
Yeah.
fucking wait because that was set up so well.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it's just that thing of like, yeah, when they come out, I'll watch them because I've enjoyed all of the 28 movies, to be honest. I
Mm.
think they've all been enjoyable movies, but they're also not all like big rewatch movies for me. I would rewatch any of them, but it's not going to be like every year I rewatch the 28 series. No, not really. But I'm really curious what other people think. Let us know, like your favorite. I think if you're going into the comments, maybe give a little spoiler warning at the top and then go down a little bit before you write your comment. just
Mm.
because we did start this with a non-spoiler section, and if someone else um hasn't watched it yet, and sometimes even when you watch the video, you could see that top comment.
Right,
So,
yeah, that spoils
so
something,
just
yeah.
just maybe be careful about that part. Like, yes, do talk to us about spoilers, but just be fair to others and maybe give that spoiler warning before you do it. And let us know, like, what's your favorite part of the movie, your least favorite part of the movie, like, where do you fall on this? How excited are you for the future of this series? Let us know all your thoughts on 28 years later. Clearly, we liked the movie. Little things we didn't like, but overall, we liked it. Just before we wrap up that up, actually, what do you think of the weird interjections of shots of older movies with like
Oh yeah.
soldiers and bows and arrows and things like that? It only went on really in the first act, while Spike was being trained and taught and all this kind of stuff. But like, did you like those interjections, or did you just think they were strange?
I, I just thought they were strange.
Yeah, I
I
thought they
think
were
I
strange.
I think I get what he was wanting to go for, but ultimately I was like, I don't really think it was necessary. I think the only one I liked was using old footage of naval ships to explain the quarantine. It
Right.
was the
Okay.
only one I think I actually liked. All the rest were just very strange.
Yeah, I actually don't know what he was going for. I don't think I do anyway. Well, I think he was trying to maybe say that, uh, you know, even though there's this virus going on, nothing's really changed. Humans have always been doing this since the dawn of man, kind of thing, and it's just it maybe looks different, but we've always, or he's trying to say we've gone back to a more primitive kind
I
of.
think it's
I don't
the
really know what he was
I
trying
think
to say.
I thought it was they've gone back.
Yeah,
They've gone back to it. This is a way of explaining what their culture is like by using the footage of
yeah,
the medieval knights. It's like, right, if you use that, you get where they're coming from, what their training is, what their thinking is.
yeah. I
But
suppose
I just don't think it was necessary because
no, it
he
wasn't like.
actually explains it.
Yeah, and I know he probably likes that. Maybe he's like, "Oh, that's so creative." But I think we're all like the audience are not stupid.
Mm.
We could see the fort, we could see the bows and arrows, we could see in the school the little pictures of the roles in our community, and so we already know they've gone backwards as a way of surviving. And I don't know what those little movie clips do for it really. Um, but yeah, I'm interested. I'd love to know from someone, did they really like that? Did it add something to the movie for them? Or do they have a different reading on what they think that means? And maybe we'll be like, oh, actually, that's fucking genius if
Mm.
someone has a good reading on it. But I didn't see the point in it. But now I want to ask Eric. Clearly, 28 years later is within the zombie movie um, genre, right?
Right, yeah, yeah.
They even, for the first time in the series, refer to um, they use the word zombie. The Swedish guy says it's a fucking zombie baby um,
Uh,
at one point. So, and then if it's not, what is 28 years later your favorite zombie movie that you've seen, Eric?
uh, um, no. I'll say no because
Because I'm so tired.
I'm so tired, and because there's not a lot in it
All
of
right.
zombies. So, trying to pick my favorite one. It's kind of weirdly enough. So I was thinking about this last night. It was like it was keeping me up at night, Chris. You posed this question last
Sorry.
night. It was keeping
It
me
kept
up.
me up as well.
I was like
I hope
really
that makes you
trying.
feel better.
Yeah, it does. Because it's like there are a lot. We have not watched the classics. We have not watched the George A. Romero zombie movies,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
probably shame on us if we're going to be talking about our favorite zombie movies that we haven't
Yeah,
watched
that's
the
true.
classics. We haven't watched Planet Terror.
Is that a zombie movie even? I didn't even know that was a zombie movie.
I thought that was a zombie. I thought it was an evil scientist released a bioweapon and then woman with machine gun like must fight and kill them.
Beats me. I don't know.
Then there's definitely plenty of other like kind of infected movies, zombie movies, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um,
There's countless. It's a whole genre on its own.
yes, but I would probably have to go with dare I say it? Some people might kill me for it. Some people might clap me on the back for it. I might actually go for World War Z.
Go on, Eric. Fucking stick to your guns, son. What do you like about World War Z?
Well, first of all, there's lots of zombies in it.
There is.
Yeah, there's a fuck ton.
Fuck ton.
I like that we see it starting. We see it start, and then just the mass panic of it growing. I like the globe-trotting adventure that it is.
Yeah.
I don't like the CGI. I will admit the whole CGI horde thing is
Yeah.
very jarringly annoying.
Yes.
But I do like, because in the trailer to that movie, it looks like they're all really smart and they're doing all these really clever things. No, they're just really determinedly fucking stupid that they're going to keep running into that bus until the bus topples or until others start running over each other. They're like so savagely just
Driven. Yeah.
that that's what they're doing. And like even the whole, I liked there's a point when I think he's in Jerusalem. And there was this whole thing of all the scientific means of how to save people, getting them behind the walls. And then the people start singing some like religious song and they're all praising it. And then that fucking, because they're using a microphone, that pisses all the zombies off. So they climb up the wall and then they get over and the whole thing just gets fucked instantly. All because, and I really like that juxtaposition of it. And then the idea of using the virus, like using other viruses to save yourself, sort of like camouflaging you. Because as far as the undead, as far as the infected are concerned, they're not going to go for you because you're not healthy.
It's an interesting idea.
It's a very interesting idea. And I think the bit at the end is really good because they don't use CGI zombies.
Yes.
They have real people and it's really kind of creepy and stuff. So I just actually kind of enjoyed it as a zombie movie.
They're also like, obviously the zombies are more animated in World War Z, but they're not unlike the ones from the 28.
No, it's just that at least the 28 used real people.
Yes. Yeah. But in terms of being like fast and driven and savage, yeah, they're kind of similar in that sense. Yeah, like you said, like we haven't watched all of like the classic zombie movies, and like so, like you might not hear, like if you're expecting Night of the Living Dead or something like that, it's like I can't say it just because it's a classic because I haven't seen it. It would be actually hypocritical to just say it based on it's like, well, I've heard of it and I heard it's really good. Maybe if I seen it, then I would say it. But we would have watched a lot of zombie movies growing up, but not particularly the good ones, or not particularly great ones, and some very good ones too. But it was more like for fun, and like me and my friends would have loved watching zombie movies, and even tried to make a couple of zombie films ourselves growing up. It was like a really fun, it's that kind of low budget thing of like you don't need much to make a zombie film, and the whole appeal of a zombie film is kind of just watching what decisions will humans make in those situations before they get killed or eaten or whatever. That's sort of the appeal of it. I remember being really impressed by, but it was kind of like a mini series, Dead Set, which was, it was a really fucking fascinating concept. It was basically a group of people were in the Big Brother house, and then the zombie apocalypse broke out while they're in the Big Brother house. But because they have no access to their phones or anything, because they're in the Big Brother house, they don't know what's going on outside.
Yeah.
And then eventually the zombies are like outside the studio and stuff, and they're trying to survive, but they're locked in the Big Brother house. That was a really interesting one. Obviously, you've got your comedy ones as well, like Shaun of the Dead and stuff. Yeah. Classics. I think the one, though, that has like stuck with me the most. And you got to give a shout out to the Paul W.S. Anderson Resident Evil movies. Of
course.
They're terrible, but they're great crack. And that's the thing about a lot of zombie movies. Some of them are just great crack. But the one that has really stuck with me as this is a good movie. It's terrifying. And it does something a little bit different with the zombie genre, is Rec, which is the Spanish... I know it got remade into Quarantine as an American kind of retelling of it, but Rec is actually... I've seen both. Rec is better. And just the whole camera found footage feeling of it, the graininess of it the whole way through makes it feel very real, very visceral, very scary. It being very secluded to like an apartment complex, and then they're not letting anyone out of the apartment complex. Just how, again, violent, vicious, savage the zombies are in it. and just how scary and intense, like the way it's shot is, your heart is pounding the whole way through the movie. It is very scary and feels very high stakes without going, the whole world is infected. Like they keep it really, almost like, in a way, it's nearly a better Resident Evil movie than any of the Resident Evil movies. Because like a typical Resident Evil game, for example, would be you're in a location.
Yeah, you're very isolated.
And you're stuck there with infected. And that's what Wreck does. Now, I think they do try go bigger with sequels and all, and that's just what always happens with sequels. But that original one is so fucking scary, really intense, and stands out to me as like so there's all the fun zombie movies, there's the funny ones, there's there's good crack ones, and then there's ones maybe like that are like, no, that's actually fucking terrifying. It stands out as a really strong zombie movie. But we've mentioned a few games in this as well. Eric, this one might be even harder because there's some great zombie games out there, like really great. Like whatever about the zombie movie catalog out there, there's fucking amazing zombie games.
And at least with this one, we've actually played classics.
In this case, we have played some of the actual zombie classic games. But what would be your favorite zombie game if you had to narrow it down? Obviously, we could give a shout out to a few before we narrow down to the. My absolute favorite has to be blah, whatever.
Right. Now, well, I'll give a shout out, right? Because I was actually kind of thinking, is it this or this, right? Because Dead Space. Fucking brilliant, right? And it reinvents the idea of zombies, and it has that claustrophobic feel, that isolated thing you're talking about with Wreck. And then it's just a really good, great game. But then sometimes when I'm looking for a zombie game,
I want a movie to rip off Dead Space. I've for ages wanted to watch a sci-fi movie with zombies on a ship in space. And I don't care if it's not called Dead Space, but it's basically Dead Space, and that the complaint is, they just ripped off Dead Space. I want to watch it. I don't care.
They'll call it Death Void or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. That's what I want to watch.
It's actually not a terrible title.
That's great, actually. Let's make it.
But I actually, because sometimes when it comes to zombie games and stuff, I remember for years being like, I want to play a zombie game with just those classic walking zombies in those tight corridors and being that isolated feel, and people weren't really doing it. The running zombies was big, or comedy was big, or whatever the fuck. Like Dying Light is actually really good. I really like Dying Light, the first one.
Yeah,
actually very good. The bastard stole my idea by having zombies get stronger at night. But when it comes to favorite, I've played this so many times. It has to be Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah, come on. So good.
Because you got your classic zombies, but then you got your alpha, you got your stalker, you got your Mr. X, and you got your lickers, and you got your other things. It's such a great fun game to play. Like first time you're playing it, it's so intense. Second time you're playing it, you just have a bit of crack. You go, I'm just gonna run through this.
Yes.
Yeah. So Resi 2 remake.
Yeah. No, I mean you can't not even shout it out. Hard not to mention Resident Evil in general in terms of zombie games as a franchise. They are the GOAT. I think. Dying Light is a good shout. Dead Island is good crack. For just going around beating the shit out of zombies, for that kind of fun zombie vibe, that kind of B horror movie vibe. Dead Space, great shout. There's lots of great zombie games.
I have a feeling I know what you're going to say though.
I think my favorite one though is The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Just because for me, like, and don't get me wrong, I fucking love all the Resident Evil games too. Like Resi 4, for example, one of the fucking best games ever, and they are also a type of zombie. There's no point in saying they're not. But for me, what elevates it from just like a good fun zombie story to a great zombie story is the human reaction to the affected. So I always see the zombie thing as being, it's more of a setting to tell a good human story. It's like this is just the context or the setting in which now we have good characters, and how are they going to survive this, how they're going to react to this, the choices they're going to make, what are other humans willing to do to survive in this situation, what has it turned humanity into, basically. And to me, no other game has done that better than The Last of Us. In terms of not just Joel and Ellie's journey, but also everyone you meet along the way, even the notes you read, the impact it's had on society as a whole. And they did a nice I think at that point we were getting a lot of zombie games, and they put a nice little twist on it where it's like they're still zombies. There's no doubt about it that they are zombies. Maybe not in the classic they rise from the dead kind of way, but in terms of them not being in control of their own brains and seeking out people to spread the infection, they're zombies. But there's an original twist on it too with the cordyceps in terms of it, and it feels like it's kind of naturally occurring, so that's kind of scary. And it wasn't some evil mastermind who lab made it, but also made an antivirus for themselves. So all you have to do is find that to save the day. Like, it's something that came from the earth, and it's not so easily defeated or destroyed,
Yeah.
and it popped up everywhere at the same time too. Yeah, so I just think, yeah, it's The Last of Us is probably my favorite zombie game. I think what it does in terms of telling a human story with a zombie context is fucking amazing. But guys, now we would love to hear from all of you. What is your favorite zombie game of all time? And what is your favorite zombie movie of all time? There's no wrong answer. It's your personal favorite. That's what I want to hear. And honorable mentions, shout them out too. If you're watching YouTube, make sure you jump into the comments and share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this episode, please do give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell for future content. We release episodes every single week. And we'd love you to join in on all those future discussions. If you're listening to us on audio platforms, you can touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take. Again, to give your take on your favorite zombie movies, your favorite zombie games, and your thoughts on 28 years later. Thanks so much for checking out this week's episode. We will be back to talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.